I'm Josh.
And I'm not Josh, but together we are Joshing around.
Yeah.
I forgot.
And we were almost in sync on that. Last episode, I felt we were so professional with the way that we did that.
Oh, yeah,
and we have
pretty
just taken a solid step backwards.
My bad, guys. My bad. Cool, right. Do you guys want to listen to a question?
Go on.
Greetings. That's very formal, thank you. Been thinking recently about expanding my collection. I already have an Old Dominion army and want something a bit faster. Which faction should I go for next? Thanks. The real Slim Shady. And I will not have it disputed that was indeed
Actual,
yeah.
the Slim Shady, yeah.
And I'm imagining him standing up right now as I read that out. Because he is the real Slim Shady. Sorry, that joke was that. I apologise. All right, restart the podcast.
20 years too late, Slim.
Nice.
So yeah, you currently OD and you want something faster.
Yep.
Okay, so we're ruling out Dwagon,
Yep.
city states.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although they got some new regiments that are kind of fast, but they're like lights.
Clockwork cop lights.
No, it's like the I can't remember what they're called, the
ones-
goat looking guys. They can like charge
yeah.
first. I think they've got like bloodlust and stuff.
And they can
charge
appear
first,
from anywhere on the
yeah, they just
board
turn
sort of
up
thing.
and it looks terrifying. But that's almost like to counter the fact that they're so slow, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're ditching Dweg. We're ditching City States.
Yeah.
I think other stuff generally has pretty fast capabilities.
Yes, the overpowered. I mean, fast early game. It's difficult to get past Nords and Spires. And Wadroon actually. Wadroon have
Wadroon
got
are
that
pretty
hunting
fast.
pack and that.
Yeah, I'd almost put Nords and Wadroon before Spires because I feel like you can make Spires fast if you bring the right regiments, but it's not always like gonna happen.
It's not a fast army.
No.
It's just an army that's got fast units.
yeah.
100
Yeah.
Kingdoms.
Same with 100 Kingdoms. Yeah.
But 100 Kingdoms, when you give Vanguard to all your men,
Yeah.
it can be pretty fast.
Yeah, that is insane.
So it's basically, if you want a fast army, why on earth have you got Old Dominion? All the options is almost all of
Yeah. I mean, Josh, you'll be able to tell us about the pains of that, right?
Yeah, well, I just chose the opposite. I was like, I feel like my army's too fast. I'm going to move something slower.
and you really embraced it.
I really went for it.
Mine went 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah.
More like 100 to 0 miles per hour.
Yeah, solid stop. Yeah, Old Dominion. I think what really hurts Old Dominion as well, makes them so slow, is their like lack of lights at the moment. So you've pretty much only got the Keers and Mori, which is only with one particular character that I don't see that many people run. So that really slows them down when you've just only got mediums. And again, because you're rolling lights on a 1 to 4, you're likely to get a few lights on, whereas turn 2, you're rolling your mediums on a 1 and 2, you're like, it can feel real slow and a lot of your army doesn't come on till turn 3.
Yeah.
So, like, I know Old Dominion, you've got some light cavalry in the future. I think stuff like that will start to be a bit of a game changer for Old Dominion. Make them a little bit faster, which they desperately need.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does feel like, probably Wadroon and Nords, both of them feel like, especially the Nords with Vanguard and the new Werewolves out, having units come on turn 1 and move 21 inches.
21 inches, bro. That was awful. Sorry, I mean, we'll talk about it. That was so... I'm just,
Yeah, what was it? And turn 2 as well, you can move another 7 inches and then obviously charge. So it's like another 14 plus whatever you roll. So you could, like if you roll really well, I mean, you could almost move 40 inches.
Oh, yeah, you just traverse the entire board. Yeah, why not?
Oh, there we go. I mean, that sounds like your answer then, isn't it? A meme Nords list. That's what you need to
Yeah. Oh, a bit of foreshadowing there. So love that. Yeah. So it's basically either, and I guess none of us are really experts on Wadroon, but from what it seems like, especially if you go, what is it, the famine chanting route, you get a lot of like speedy movement and stuff. So I think that's definitely, if you're into your techie sort of like doing your chants and all that sort of card activation, then that could be another interesting move for you.
Yeah, and they've got whatever that unit is that has move 8 or 9, is it? The
Raptor Ride.
Raptor Riders, yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, I think there might be 9, which again, I think that's it, because it's for other ones like Nords and 100 Kingdoms, it's like you've got to pick the person who gives you Vanguard. Yeah. But having a light that moves 9 is just mad.
Well, it's not. So 100 Kingdoms has a light that moves 9. We've got Mountain Squires, but the Raptor Riders, they really do work. They've got extra attacks and stuff. I think they can volley as well, I think, or something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, they've got big old spears that looks like they're throwing them, and I think I've seen volleys happening.
Yeah,
even if not, they are.
Raptor
okay, that is right.
Shoot.
Yeah.
They've also got a hunting pack as well, and that's move 8.
Yes. Yeah, you bought some of those recently, Sam, didn't you?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, can't wait for you to start running Wardrune.
Yes, no, I'm looking forward to it, especially as I finished painting the Drum Beast.
I was going to say, where is he? Where's he gone?
Yeah, in the other room. I brought him out and then just wasn't sure where to put him.
Be great for a third episode in the row.
Yeah.
I think something for our listeners to hear described.
Yeah. Well, so the top half there is a lot of orange scales, and you keep going down the neck. Oh, there's more scales.
Yeah, we need to have an audio described version of the podcast that has that deep voice every so often just going, for the benefit of the listener, the dinosaur is not present in the room.
Like the audio description. Yeah. Love it.
Josh is looking surprised at this point.
Which Josh? Who knows? Great. Well, I think that's a good point to move on to today's topic of conversation, which is mine and Josh's meme lists. I think it's been. Yeah. It was a drawn out game. It was a drawn out game.
Hang on, you think you were running 16 units and it turned into a long
and 4 characters. And 4 characters.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, just to disappoint people, we didn't finish the game. We played for, I think it was around 4 hours. And we got to turn 5. And we called it at turn 5 with a kind of...
I think it was 6, but still, it's like the end of turn 5. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we had 5 more turns. It was like past 1 o'clock in the morning. We'd work the next day, and we're like,
so tired.
We didn't even really know who had won.
No, we're just like lethargic, and we'd like just started like hallucinating. Yeah. It's like, no, I swear I had another unit of mercenary crossbow.
And so, bearing that in mind, I'm really looking forward to the high level of insight that we're going to deliver in this episode. We've got 1/2 game.
Also, unlike you, Sam, we did not take any notes whatsoever. I think Josh took notes of like the scoreboard, but that was about it.
Yeah, I remember it like relatively well. It's fairly fresh in my head, so that's good. But what I do remember was you had so many cards and you had so many units on the table, you couldn't really fit your cards next to your units.
No, yes, piling them up.
You were just piling them all there. And then I remember, I think it got to like turn 4 or 5 and you realised like, you were like a mercenary crossbowman unit short.
Yeah, I hadn't even brought enough. I'd left one at home. I was just like, oh man. So fortunately one died and I just put it back on. But oh man, yeah. I think I was like 2 short or something. And I basically filled my box up to the brim with just crossbowmen. Oh man.
Okay, right. Let me try and give, from what I remember, a brief play-by-play, and then you can correct me when I'm wrong, and then talk about what we learned in our game.
So I'm going to be that actually guy.
Pretty much. So turn 1, I mean, you got on. Was it quite a lot of your army? Was it 8 regiments?
So my reinforcement roll was 15 dice. It felt like an attack roll. And yeah, I think I got on like 9 regiments, and there were So it was like, or it succeeded 8 rolls or something like that. Got on 9 regiments. I definitely got on 9 regiments.
Nice.
And so I had like however many left at home.
Yeah, I remember you had like 6 or 7 left.
Yeah, 7 left.
And I was like, man, this is... At first I was just like, how are you going to fit all this on the board?
Oh, but that was the first... I remember that was like the first thing you said, right? Because we were also playing on a slightly smaller... Because the mat you have is a 4x4, right? It's not even like a... So we didn't get the full length of it.
I cheaped out and I bought a 4x4 inch mat because I haven't got the biggest tables at home. And
well, that's what we were playing at the time, right?
Yeah.
It was all 4x4s on Sam's kitchen tabletop. But
yeah, which with a 2k army felt congested.
oh, yeah.
But yeah, so turn 1, I had 2 werewolves come on. They run 24 inches down the board. I think you shot me a little bit, but most of your units, you just had to like triple march them on just to kind of get everything on in relatively good space. And then I remember you fired a few shots. I did a few rolls. I remember realizing turn 1, your mercenary crossmen were going to hurt because I think I was defense 2, evasion 1 on the werewolves.
Yeah,
which with
they took it harder than the rest of your army.
Yeah, with the AP 1, I was like, lots of these shots are going to get through. So that was fine. So that was turn 1. And then turn 2, I get both of my Fenrir Beast pack on. And...
So I should really be doing that for the werewolves. I don't know why I'm doing it for the feathers.
That's the second time that you did it. Last episode.
No, I mean, I feel like I just need to steer into the mistake at this point.
And I think you got on... I think you had 1 or 2 regiments remaining, if I can remember correctly. But I'm pretty sure you basically had like another 5 or 6 come on.
I remember for turn 1, I brought on everything except the crossbowmen.
Right.
Maybe like 1 unit of them or something, because I wanted the characters there to like bait you out so I could see what you're going to do and then shoot you afterwards. But I think by turn 3 I had everything on.
And so I remember my thinking was, right, I've got to set a high objective line and I'm going to get shot to pieces, but how many turns can I hold the points for? And so I went first, which I'm pretty sure I went first most turns of the game. Having dramatically less cards, I always had the dice on my side. So I go first. On one on my side, I charge my werewolves into something, attack it, and it's an MSU, so I pretty much kill it. But the nice thing is I had set my line on that side of the board. We haven't even described what objective it was. The map was Maelstrom, which is the...
So we decided that I literally asked your wife to pick a number between 1 and 12, and she was like 11. I was like, scroll. Phew, it's not melee.
So it's the 3 objectives across the board, and then 2 are worth... The 2 outside ones are worth 2 points for every turn you hold them from turns 1 to 4.
Yep.
And the middle one's worth 1. And then it swaps for the next 4 turns. And then it swaps back for turns 9 and 10.
Yeah.
So pretty simple. It's just holding objectives. So I remember on the right-hand side of the board, I charge past and my werewolves are maybe like 6-7 inches past the objective. They've killed one of your guys.
Yeah.
And then I run my Fenrir Beast pack behind them to just sit on the edge of that objective. Yeah. And then I remember on the left side of the board, I had a charge. It was a little bit further away and I needed to get a 3+ to charge them and then be able to attack. Yeah. And I thought, 2/3 of the time I'd do it. I get like 1 impact per stand. I'm going to risk it. I'm going to roll the dice. And it was the biggest mistake I made at the game because I rolled a 1 and then it meant I was sitting behind the objective, which meant I could be contested for the next like 4 turns rather than 6 or 7 inches past it, which meant I would guaranteed hold it for the next few turns. So
then I just got a bunch of extra shots in and
that was my big misplay of the game. So that
shout out to size 2 regiments, by the way, because being able to shoot them when you've got like ranks and ranks and ranks of crossbowmen all behind each other trying to shoot over.
Yeah,
I'll just point up.
So How many of your units had arcing fire? You got your longbowman.
Longbowman, I didn't use arcing fire once.
Really?
Yeah, just because I could see everything.
Because everything's size 2.
It's like, great, that's a yacht now. Cool.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, that was my big mistake, turn 2. And then I kind of feel like turn 3, I got both my heavies on and they started running towards the middle. But kind of as I remember it, like once we all met, we both had like, obviously had werewolves and then Fenrir Beast Pack behind, and you just had, I mean, just endless numbers of MSUs behind. So kind of once we set a kind of a front line, that front line didn't really move for the next 4 turns, did it?
Nah, there wasn't a whole lot of movement beyond. I mean, I feel like the middle of the board was quite open, but the 2 flanks were like locked down.
Yeah, so the middle was pretty open. I remember I got my raiders in to try and set a line there, and then I got the ice yacht. No, I had a sea yacht now. I got that to run in and mean that I was holding that. And so, what was it? When we got to turn 5, both my werewolves were dead.
Yep.
One of my Fenrir Beast Pack was dead. The other one had lost, I think, 1 stand. That turn as well. I had 6 wounds left on my sea yacht now, and you got 6 shots through.
Oh, exactly.
And I failed all 6 of them for him to die.
Oh, that is a pain.
And I had my bear sarks left.
Yeah. So you had basically an entirely full Fenrir Beast Pack and bear sarks.
Yeah, so I just had those 2 left. I think I'd killed maybe 5 MSUs, not that much, but we were 11-0 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, 11-0, yeah.
And at this point, like, I had both my regiments basically holding the far right objective.
Yeah.
And you didn't have them turn 5, but turn 6, you would be holding both the other 2 objectives.
Yes.
And that's where we called it. And I think we were trying to do the maths, and I think we worked out if I could hold on to my objective for the next 5 turns, then I would win.
Yeah. I think it was even the next 4 turns, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
And I think, but I had to basically, which was doable because all my stuff was shooting, right? So I could sit on the objectives and shoot you, and just sort of hope for the best. I think I still had like a couple of crossbowmen, and basically all of my, so probably I think a unit of Hunter Cadre. Sorry, not Hunter Cadre. I remember I used the cards because I don't actually have the regiment. Imperial Ranger Corps with the Imperial Officer.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So I think that was all still there. But I think it would have been possible, but I just don't think either of us had the willpower to carry out that game. Because it was also like what you said was exactly right. We got to that point in the game where like playing one more round isn't gonna tell us what's gonna happen. Like we're still gonna have to play this till the end. And I was just at that point, I'm like, mate, take it. You play brilliantly, and this is a very hard list to play against.
The Fenrir Beast Pack got so much value. Having the loose formation.
Right, let's talk about loose formation because this is BS. This flipping rule, man. So, I mean, look, do you know what? I'm just going to read this rule out because for bearing in mind that this list is entirely shooting, my 100 Kingdoms list, everything is ranged. And if it's in combat, it's Clash 1, Defense 1 without fail. Just for context. Just for context.
Is that true for longbowmen as well?
Yep.
Are they? But have they always
Clash 1, Defense 1? For some reason, they have Cleave 1.
Yeah.
But Cleave 1 on Clash 1 is like, what's the point? But I think there's like a law reason why they put it in. But it's like, and I think they get to say, oh, that's why we put more points into it. I don't know. Right, so here we go. I'm gonna find it. The rule. Nords. So I'll just bring up the app.
And the audio described version, which Josh is currently checking
I'm now
through the app on
scrolling.
his phone.
I mean,
And all
he'll
I can
read out
see
the
is yacht
official
noise.
rule in the moment, but I'm pretty sure it's basically.
I got it.
Oh, there you go. Read it out.
Okay, loose formation. When a stand performs the volley action against a regiment with this special rule, it halves the X value in its barrage X special rule, rounding up to a minimum of 1. Then there's more stuff about spells, but we don't care about that. So basically, it meant that I was barrage 3 most of the time, and I'd go down to barrage 2 because it rounds up. So it wouldn't round down to 1, it rounds up to 2.
And then when you were
also
in
meant-
effective range.
Yeah, when I was in effective range, I was still barrage 2.
Still 2.
So it was just like, great.
So, I mean, I have 2 things to say about this. Firstly, I think it's important to point out how you have consistently used the word barrage when it's meant to be barrage. Secondly,
Nigel Barrage.
Nigel Barrage, yeah.
Nigel Barrage. Nigel Barrage.
That sounds like the guy you meet down the pub, isn't it? Nigel Barrage. Oh, you
What's up, mate? Barrage.
Yeah. Second thing, I think I know what the answer to this question is. If you were in obscuring terrain, would it halve it a second time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Savage.
That sucks, doesn't it?
Quarter shots.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I let Josh pick the terrain, and we didn't have any obscuring terrain.
Oh, really?
But
really?
I was just like, oh, Josh, I forgot that I should have
Look at all of these hills everywhere.
And do you know what I
There were
also...
literally 2 hills.
Yeah, there was 2 hills.
I didn't need him in the end, just to clarify. But
And then there was also water, and I didn't realise until Josh texted me this morning that you get all of the Nords like new supremacies. You don't pick one of the 3.
yeah, okay, just to clarify, I didn't know that at the time. I didn't just text you this morning, oh, by the way, lol, you should have. You know what I mean? Like, that would be savage. I did find out this morning.
He found it this morning. Yeah, so I remember that time because I couldn't inspire because I did a combat reform. I was rolling flurry 1s.
Oh, man.
beast
Flurry 1s. I mean, you might as well be chucking your dice down the toilet at that point and just flushing and see what comes up.
And also because the one I'd picked was to try and do the fun +4 to the charge of the raiders. The whole game I wasn't playing that my injured regiments were getting +1 attacks.
Oh, man, yeah. You would have got so many more attacks.
Yeah. So I'm embarrassed to say, of a Nords player of like 2 years, I'm just made the most, first time playing the game mistakes.
You've been playing Old Dominion for like, the last, what feels like 1,000 years. But like, and they've
fallen
updated
divinity
a lot since.
draining your life force from you every time it enters the table.
Yeah. So that every time he plays that fallen divinity, a little piece of his soul just comes out. And it's
Marks
sucked
down,
into the
adding something to the dark pool.
Yeah. I don't remember there being an extra point in the dark pool.
Grey hair just appeared there.
Sorry, is there a mist in here?
This it's been a while since I've read it. I think since it was announced, the Nord rule around ignoring terrain, that's just blanket. Anything to do with terrain is ignored.
So Nords now have 3 army rules that are always on.
Because the new Dwegom magma school.
Yeah, we should have talked about that when we did the terrain. But
Well, that's it. I've been thinking it since last episode.
It's really
I was like,
cool.
I missed out on that because that's that. If there'll be certain Dweg players that will be creating lists built around being able to turn terrain into erupting, and against any Nord's army now that's just not an option.
So
is that how that does that interact with each other in that way?
I don't think so. So the Nords one, it's just, so it says like medium and heavy, basically charging through hindering terrain, still get the inspired special rule.
Cool.
You do not suffer penalties when at least half the stands within a piece of water. And all regiments in this army suffer half wounds round up as a result of zonal terrain special rules.
Yeah, so like dangerous terrain where you roll, you take wins on 6s, right? So if you get unlucky and roll 2 6s, you only take 1 wound still.
But zonal terrain, isn't it right? Zonal terrain can become erupting, and so if it was causing, then that's a special rule. It's not like a spell called eruption. It gains that ability.
So Nords are innately pretty hard counter to the School of Magma for a tempered sorcerer. That's cool.
To be honest, I had really good luck. I ran really well against Dweg at LGT. I mean, weird because the guy
so that rule I think came in
he's
after
just come
LGT.
afterwards.
Yeah.
But I feel like Nords, well, at least the Nords list I ran felt quite strong against Dweg at LGT. So I didn't obviously face the guy who won, but there was 2 other Dweg players there, and both of those games were felt pretty one-sided to me.
Sure.
I think it was just because they're games where Dweg haven't got the tools to hurt my anvils. So my anvils got there fast enough and then just caused them big problems.
Yeah.
And having spellcasters, 2 spellcasters,
they're disrupting
the disruption to their spells and the size of my blocks meant unless they were running Arcane 3, which not all of them were, it was really hard for them to get their spells off.
Just before we go further
back to our
down
list.
this, I was going to say, just before we go down the rabbit hole further, was there anything else you wanted to sort of say about our match we had? Do you feel like there's stuff you change on the list? Would you feel like it's purely decisions that you made? You'd be like, you'd rather change?
Yeah, like I felt like not doing that charge, getting unlucky with the sea Jotnar dying early, forgetting all my army rules or not realising I could play them, made me realise like what felt like quite a close game actually should have been, I think, relatively decisive to me. I actually think, looking back, it really didn't feel like much of a meme list. I think it actually felt... I think if I'd run all beasts, as I was first considering, that would have been a bit more meme list. But actually having...
a few more raiders and
having a few...
Vanguard.
And having 2 heavies, like, getting some heavies on, they can do a bit of work.
Man, your Blaze Arc's got right up into my half of the board as well. Like, I was literally right on my back line. They move so quick, man.
Well, you also never moved your guys forward that much because they were just sitting there shooting.
Taking aim and shooting.
I had to get all the way up. So to be honest, I think maybe just against your list, the Werewolves definitely felt like they underperformed. But the Fenrir Beast Pack for 220 points felt, again, having loose formation, felt like they were overperforming against you.
But also, I think with the Werewolves, I know you're saying, they feel like they underperformed, but they're the perfect reciprocal for AP1 shots. Because they're defense 2, evasion 1, I just take you down to 1, and that's great. The other thing about the Fenrir Beast Pack was they are evasion 2. So they don't, I think they're defense 1 or something, right? Yeah. So like, I can have all the AP1 in the world I like, but it doesn't make a difference. That was actually where I struggled against you as well, Sam, when we played, where I was shooting into the Strix with all the crossbowmen I had, and it just like, I was just not doing what they should have been doing. It's because you had evasion 2, and that when you're doing plink levels of damage, not being able to get that reduction in your defense roll it feels impactful.
Yeah,
for sure.
But so I definitely, that list actually felt pretty legit. It felt really strong. I think having flank as well, like having flank meaning that both the Fenrir Beast Pack, both of them came on turn 2 and ran 21 inches down the board. Like it felt,
it's brutal, man.
I could easily see myself running 2 5 or 6 stand blocks of them. Just 5 stand for 220 points doesn't feel that expensive.
And you didn't even take advantage of the opportunists thing.
No.
But I guess that doesn't even matter because you already get flurry.
It's flurry on everything,
Yeah, but it definitely felt like, I mean, the biggest negative that came out of that is I'm probably going to end up spending a fortune now buying like 4 boxes of Fenrir and a couple boxes of Werewolves and this new artisan character. It's probably, that match is probably going to cost me a couple £100.
Oh yeah.
Would you get it painted? Because that's the second challenge, isn't it? Paying the money, building it, and then actually having it painted.
I think I like painting brutes more. I feel like it's the monotony that gets me. So I feel like Like when I was doing like my Valkyries and I was running 6 stands of them, and I'm like painting 24 models. Felt like a lot.
I felt that with my household guard, man. It was, again, 6 stands. I was like, oh.
Whereas, when I've done brutes before, like I recently did the Carrotids for Old Dominion.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. It was like just 3 models was great. They were all slightly unique as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, it didn't feel monotonous. It felt like, I just did an MSU of them, but had a lot of fun doing it. So I kind of feel like it's quicker doing one big model or one medium-sized model compared to 4 small ones.
Yeah.
And feels less monotonous.
It's also the surface area is way smaller.
Yeah.
So if you've got, so it's the same with my cavalry, right? It takes me way less time to paint up a household knight. Not that I've ever painted up a household knight in my life, because I just haven't got around to it. But in theory, I've done the Crimson Tower, right? But it takes less time, I think, personally, unless it's the banner bearer, then obviously, the banner takes ages, because that's, basically you're painting a piece of paper at that point. But like, just for like the regular, like infantry soldier or whatever, for the Crimson Tower, him on a horse took me about the same time as probably 2 stands of them took the same time as 1 stand of like Steel Legion, right? Because you've just got all the nooks and crannies, all the extra bits to paint, and you're just like,
because you're going for easy colours. I think there was one evening where you came around my house where I was painting up my Centaur Avatar, and I spent the entire evening
painting gold,
just going gold. I must have done 4 layers.
That gold is awful as well. It's the Vallejo game colour gold from the starter set. I've got the same one, and I bought Retributor gold, and it changed my life, Sam. It changed my life.
But my Centaur, they look really nice and gold now.
No, they're lovely and shiny.
But that was an evening I am not getting back. Like 4 hours of just applying more and more and more gold.
Oh man! Yeah.
See, this is why I just love I'm a contrast paints guy. Like I'm too lazy. I'm not enough into the painting, and with a beast pack as well, I just know get out a bit of Gorgontal fur, and it looks just
tabletop ready.
It's gonna look great
so quickly.
Yeah. Those Carrotids, I think they look great, really in keeping with the rest of your army. And I am with you on picking a big unit and it being quite satisfying. Like I've just painted the Siegebreaker Behemoth. I've painted the Drum Beast. I've started work on the Hierophone. Is that what it's called? How do you pronounce it? The Titan, the city-states one.
With the Promethean, or the
alternative from the
Hephaestion.
Hephaestion, that's it. Where did I get? I'm mixing up Hierodeacon with. So right,
There's a kit bashing challenge.
Oh right,
send us in your Hierodeacon Hephaestion.
Arkham and Hoplite.
Oh man, there's the episode name sorted. Yeah, man. Nice. So we're expecting to see a whole lot more Fenner Beast back from you at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe a few less trips to the pub. Not quite fitting in the budget line anymore.
Not taking the family on holiday next year, but you are going to be ready for a list of what you see.
It's going to hurt my wallet big time, but I think
great.
They felt really good, especially as well. I think the flurry from the character made such a big difference. Because I think Clash 2 with Flurry, going to Clash 2 with Flurry really felt like it did a lot of work, which was just great. What about you? What do you think of that list?
Oh, I loved it. Hated the amount of time it took to sort everything out. I think if I was to play it again, I'd probably do it a bit quicker, because I feel like I know what I'm doing now. But I spent so much time just like doing my card stack each time. Because like Josh was like, right, are you done now? And I'm like, bro, like I'm still picking up my cards. So I think I would definitely like another chance to play it. Perhaps against a slightly different army would be cool, just to see what it can do. But I feel like apart from just shooting at stuff, it doesn't feel like a particularly. It's fun, but it's like it's gimmicky fun. Whereas when you find a list that works and you can do the stuff that you need to do and it works like, even 65% of the time and you're doing it well and you're like, that's satisfying, right? And you're up against different threats and you adapt to your challenge. Whereas like with this list, it's literally just like shoot them until they die. Like that's all you're doing.
Yeah.
And so after a while it gets a little monotonous. And I think, when we stopped at the end of turn 5, I'm like, I don't know if I could have done 5 more turns of that, especially at how late it was. But I think it's a cool list. I think it's great fun. But like, I don't think anyone's playing it. I say no one's playing it in tournaments. I think people might start doing it because it is possibly viable. But like, there's a point in doing games, which I know Josh Cornford will disagree with me. But I think when it gets so meta and so like I'm jumping through the hoop so I can get the most efficiency out of this army, but it's like no fun to like, do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's like back in the day watching Manchester United win again. It's like, well, okay, great. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, I feel like, I don't know, I want there to be a bit of flair and I want to enjoy my game and there's cool stuff to happen, charges, all of that. But like, all I'm doing is sitting back and shooting. So I think almost on a non-competitive level, I'm like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to just like see something a bit more interesting in the list.
It almost turns you into that guy. That list.
Yeah.
Whereas,
and someone sees it and they just go, oh, great. We're here we're going to be here for 4 hours.
I was going to say, that's what stops that list being competitive is there's no way you're like finishing 10 turns in 2.5 hours at a tournament with a list like that.
Yeah, it's actually a really bad one for tournament play because after 2.5 hours you barely have scored anything. You're not late enough in the game for you to have caught up.
It's also going to suck for your wallet because needing to buy 16 boxes.
I have maybe like 40% of the army. I was just running 2 stands, everything. I think I just about got it in. But I don't have any Imperial Ranger Corps. I'm almost there on Longbowman. I think I just need to build... Once I build my last stand, then I'd need to buy another box. But then it's, I think, 2 more boxes of crossbowmen. Yeah. Because I got a bunch of starter sets and stuff. So I got crossbowmen for days. And then, 4 boxes of militia bowmen. And then 2 boxes.
Who wants 4 boxes of militia?
No one wants that. No one wants that. Yeah, but you got to have them if you want to run them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to see you run that another time.
Those boys are ugly as well. Like, bless them, but they are some ugly looking boys.
I'd like to see you run that list against Sam. Like, I don't want to play old D into them because, like,
oh mate, you get
be
blended.
Horrible.
Yeah,
but I think the only thing that would go in my advantage, and again, depends on
you just
what
write
size
all
board.
keys and you'd be fine because it's all loose formation.
Well, even just the fact that like only your front row be able to shoot at me because
it's all size 1. Yeah,
because I think
Legionnaires no problem.
Yeah, that was the thing that really hurt you was the fact that like, or really blessed you was the fact that all my stuff was size 2. Whereas when you had like really 3 rows of like militia bowmen and like mercenary crossbowmen and like 3 rows back, they're still shooting at me. I was like,
no problem, big man.
Like, it feels like I've kind of played myself here. So I'd be interested to see how they did that in a tournament.
It's silly also how the rules work. I always thought this about things, but like my Steel Legion are size 1 and they've got their Zweihander swords like sticking up into the air like as tall as a brute drone, right? But they're still size 1. But then something like Fenrir Beast Pack, they're like the height of a normal human. They're huge, but they're not big. That tall. They are kind of tall, but they're not like crazy tall. The werewolves, I was like, yeah, cool, they're size 2 definitely. But like they're just, I don't know, they're just like big dogs, innit?
Trolls feel quite tall.
Yes, trolls size 1.
So tall.
Yeah, they're really tall.
I remember putting them next to your men at arms, and your men at arms literally come up to their waists.
Yeah, that is literally just like, hello.
But that is a nature of the way that Conquest plays, there's quite a lot of crunchy rules in comparison. I mean, we said many times we started from Gorka Morka, and Gorka Morka is if
so
you can draw
random.
a straight line from where your model's gun is to the point you want to shoot, then you can hit it.
Yes, yeah. It's very. What you see makes sense. Yeah.
Well, it was even less than that because you just had to shoot whoever was closest to you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're not even allowed to think strategically about it.
Yeah.
But if somebody is like behind a wall, but there's a bit of them showing out the side, and you can see it because you can literally draw a line from there to there, then, well, there you go. You can see it. It's behind the wall, so it's in cover, but I can still see it, and therefore I can shoot. Whereas,
but like having like a low wall in front of you is like the same cover disadvantage to the shooter as it is if you like have like your elbow poking out of a window. Do you know what I mean? And that always felt like, oh, come on, that's silly. But I guess that's the only way to do it.
well, you need to draw a line somewhere, don't you? And so,
yeah, you do.
yeah,
You do.
we've got the rules, and that's what
Much
they is.
like drawing line of sight when taking volley actions, which I was doing a lot of.
Oh yeah, we realised we need a laser.
Yeah. It was like there were so many times where I was just like, man, I don't know if this is like within their front arc. And so I think I saw, again, it was Bonk Table. They did, Mass was doing some live battle reports where he'd like filmed the whole thing. And he had this little like laser pointer, and but it was like a special one that like, it was like a laser line.
Yes.
And so you just go bloop, and it's like, great, cool. Nothing obstructs that red line across the board. Then you got line of sight.
Yeah, that's a nice tool to have.
Have you got any questions for us, Sam? Because I realise you weren't there, so we've tried to explain the battle report to you. And if you understand, then hopefully people listening can understand it. Was there any questions you have about the list we played or the match we played?
Well, I have listened to the Just Roll Ones episode in which Mass joins and talks through that list, and he also talks about how to combat it.
Yes.
And so I suppose my question for you, Josh, is if you had brought your entire army on and hadn't gone with your whole vanguard shooting it up the field, but had just basically held everything back as close to your own reinforcement zone as you can, and then moved everything up together, do you think you would have performed better?
Not with that list. I think if I was running like a different Nords, like my LGT Nords, then I think I would have. I think stuff like the Valkyries, where they're like, once you've got Bastion on them, they're defense 4 and I can heal them up, and stuff like the Trolls, where again I can heal them up and I've got these big blocks. I think if I'd done that and moved it all up together, I could see it working. But I don't know. I feel like the way that I felt like I won, or at least should have won, was just by setting the line far enough up that just meant I was holding the objectives for long enough that I scored enough points that even if I got tabled, I was still ahead. And so I felt like that was kind of
the opposite direction.
Yeah.
To like just hold them back. Also, we can't have done it because the way we were playing was we added 6 inches onto the edge of the boards. So we had to bring on our units like -6 to their movement.
Yeah, because the table is only actually 3 feet wide.
Because we both had like Vanguard and stuff, we'd just be immediately crashing into, like, it would just be silly. So yeah, I think if we had a bigger board, but even then, I actually think that would have worked. So your C Yotnar is a prime example of that, because he kind of, I know because my militia bowman kind of side charged him and stuck him around in the middle, but he just got plinked to death because he was around for so long that I could just keep shooting at him. And it's like you almost want to do exactly what you did originally, which was to charge in as quick as possible with everything you've got. I think it kind of worked because you were so fast. So that really works, so that I'm kind of tied up. But again, the size 2 thing where I could just keep shooting was just like,
Again, I feel like if I had size 1 units and you held them all back and charged them like them when all together, again, it'll be fine because only his front row can shoot at you.
Yeah.
Whereas having every row be able to shoot at me,
It's just so much stuff. Yeah.
So, but I could see that, if you were running, like if I was running Old Dominion, I'd do a lot more of that. I'd build all my line and then I'd just march it all up.
Well, with your OD list, you could bring your stuff on, feed your Fallen Divinity until you're ready to go and win. Because at that point, as long as you don't get any of your own stuff too close to the Fallen Divinity, but you go and table him.
Okay, to finish off, I want to say one more thing about loose formation. so we had it where my Hunter Cadre, I keep saying Hunter Cadre, Imperial Ranger Corps, they were on my left flank, was stood in front of some Fenner Beast Pack. I won the supremacy, I think. So this was later on in the game, or the way the cards drew. Basically, I was the one who was given the opportunity to charge into the Fenner Beast Pack or shoot into them before they charged me. Actually, no, I think what happened is you killed some crossbowmen, and then it was like, right, I can do either charge into you now, or I can shoot you. And we literally figured out, so Imperial Ranger Corps are volley 3. So they move to, take an aim, they go to volley 4.
Yeah.
But because of loose formation, I just lost so many shots that I was like, it is literally better for me to charge in this MSU with an Imperial officer of Clash 1 dudes to do 4 attacks each, and then the Imperial officer to do his 4 attacks, than it is to shoot you with a regiment that is extremely good at shooting. And it was just like, man, that was crazy. I'm just like, that loose formation rule is nice for you. So, yeah, it's just one of those things, but it just made me laugh so much because we literally did the maths. Like I sat down with the calculator and just went, right, 14, 13 divided by 6 times 2. I was like, it was just better to do it. So
I remember because the Imperial officer didn't shoot, he kind of swung it. But it was mad that it was better for him to clash at Clash. I guess you'd be inspired to Clash 2 rather than volley at 4 just because all the shots were halved.
The weight of dice was so small. Yeah.
And I remember I had another one where I had my Shaman meant I re-rolled defense rolls to the end of round. I put that in one of the beast packs as well. And so not only was he getting half shots.
That was brutal. And then you re-rolled the failed defense rolls. Oh. Yeah.
This is my favourite thing.
So my
Conquest.
AP1 wasn't working because of evasion 2. I was getting half shots because of loose formation, and the Shaman let him re-roll all of his defence rolls. It's not even like for one action, it's just all your defence rolls.
Till end of round.
It's just stupid. Like, why are people not using this more? I mean, must be amazing. Like, you give yourself basically limited blessed, like whenever you want.
The reason why it's not used more is because it's on Nords, and the way Nords follow the rule, a good defense is a strong offense.
Yeah.
Like if I hit you first and like knock out half your stands, then I take less hits back, and that's how they work. And so
but Josh, you actually made your Nords have a good defense.
That's still only evasion 2, but that's why no one ever casts any spells, is because by the time he acts, like there's no way you're going to stop your big regiment attacking. She's like, first I need to make sure they're re-rolling defense till the end of round. Like you want to just hit hard first. So stuff like that feel like actually they could be quite strong spells in a lot of armies.
Yeah.
In Nords feel like, you barely even consider them.
Yeah. Well, I think that just about concludes our game. That was a very good game, Josh. Thanks for playing that with me, man.
It was a lot of fun. And definitely, if there's any Nords people out there, I mean, the Fenner Beast Pack with this new, giving them Flurry just felt really pushed them from being like playable to great. Like it felt like it made a big difference.
It's almost like you'd want to take them most times at this point. Give them more of a go and see how they go. But anyway, thank you so much for listening to Joshing Around in Air. We have an email, so if you'd like to email us in your lovely questions, we will answer them on this podcast. They may be Conquest related, they may be related to something completely different. Sam may give you some coaching advice. Who knows? Anything can happen. So our email is. Who wants to read out the email? I read it last time.
Yeah, so it's probably back to my turn.
Go on, Sam.
So are you ready?
Give us your email.
joshingaroundinair@gmail.com.
Wow, what an amazing email address. Thank you, Sam.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye. Yeah.
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 See you.
Thank you.